Question of the Week from the Naked Scientists.
Hello and welcome to Question of the Week with me, Tom Crawford. This week we're putting Helen's question under the magnifying glass.
Why are fingerprints unique?
The movies say that if your fingerprints are found at the scene of the crime, you're guilty. But does this notion hold up in the real world? Forensic scientist Professor Niamh Nic Daoud put me through my paces at our very own virtual crime scene, where, would you believe it, the murderer has left his fingerprints on the candlestick in the dining room. Niamh, I think I found something. It looks like it might be a fingerprint left behind by our culprit. If we are going to use this as evidence, I guess the first thing we need to know is whether fingerprints are actually unique.
In forensic science, we're actually moving away from the notion that fingerprints can be considered as unique, and instead we talk about the comparison between fingerprints and finger marks. Fingerprints are the records that are taken directly from a person's finger by law enforcement, and finger marks are what we recover from crime scenes.
I see. So what I've found is actually a finger mark, not a fingerprint.
Yes, that's exactly right. To find evidence that our culprit may have been at the scene, we would need to compare the finger mark taken from the crime scene with a database of fingerprints that contain the fingerprints of our culprit.
And what telltale signs are we looking for?
Well, there are a range of characteristic patterns which are called friction ridge patterns in a fingerprint, which can be identified and used to compare fingerprints with finger marks. The most common overarching features are called whorls, loops, and arches. And fingerprint examiners will also look for other features, for example, where these ridges may divide.
Okay, that certainly seems like a lot of variation to be packed into a fingertip. We've had a question from Stephen on Facebook, who wants to know whether the same applies to toe prints.
Yes, there are also ridge patterns on the palms of your hand and on your toes.
So criminals had better make sure to wear shoes as well as gloves to avoid being caught. But why do we have toe and finger marks in the first place? Listener Akalesh thought it was due to the different genetic origins of each individual, while Teo thought it might be influenced by the place in which we are born, or perhaps even the chemical makeup of the soil. David said fingerprints are unique simply so that we can use our iPhones.
Well, fingerprints are developed in the womb. They begin to develop about the 10th week of pregnancy and are largely complete by around the end of the 4th month. The print is determined by the relationship between the epidermis, which is the outer skin layer, and the underlying layer of skin called the dermis. And it is thought to be influenced by factors such as blood pressure, the oxygen levels in the blood, both maternal and fetal, the position adopted in the womb by the fetus, the touching of fingers onto the sac and amniotic fluid, nutrition of the mother, hormone levels.
It's a long list then.
It certainly is. What it does mean, though, is that fingerprints are different on every finger of your hand, they differ between your hands, and that fingerprints of identical twins are different from each other.
So identical twins aren't really identical?
Yes, that's right. And actually, I know a quick way to take your very own fingerprint sample if you want to look at it. If you get a pencil and rub that pencil onto some paper, then rub your fingerprint across the pencil mark so that the graphite transforms onto your finger. Then you press your finger onto the sticky side of some sellotape and then finally stick the sellotape onto a piece of white paper and look at it. You should be able to see the fingerprint really clearly, and you can look at all of the features we've talked about.
There you have it, Helen. Thanks for helping to solve this mystery, Niamh. I'll see if I can track down our suspect. Next time, we're drilling into John's question.
What is the most expensive element in the world?
What do you think? If you have any ideas, get in touch via Twitter, Facebook, or on the forum, nakedscientist.com/forum.
Question of the Week is part of the Naked Scientists podcast and supported by the Wellcome Trust and UK Fast. Look us up online at nakedscientists.com.